डॉक्टर बाबा साहेब आंबेडकर ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी।
Dear students, welcome back at Human Resource Management course provided by Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Open University, courtesy Chaitanya Studio. So in previous session, we were discussing training, that is a second topic of second block. First one was recruitment and selection, second one training. And today we are going to discuss in the same line the third and most interesting perspective, probably from the employee's point of view, that is performance appraisal. So block 2 unit 3 performance appraisal of human resource management. Let's start today's session. So it's 302 human resource management under BBA course, and we are at block 2 unit 3 performance appraisal. This side you are getting idea from Dr. Jignesh Trivedi, Associate Professor, Narayana Business School. So performance appraisal, before we move on to learning objective, I am sure you guys are aware with the word performance, because in every aspect we are looking for performance, to perform in any field. So we have to gone through what appraisal is all about, because you are known with the word performance. So we have to discuss performance appraisal. Then we'll check what are the objectives. Why I told you in the beginning that most important for the employees, we'll discuss over there. Then what are the utility, why we can use and how we can utilize performance appraisal. What are the criteria and process associated with this method called performance appraisal. What are the different methods available, followed by issues and how we can solve them out. Let's start with introduction. Performance appraisal. So as I told you, every one of us would like to achieve something over a period of time. So when you are working, or prior to that, as you guys are in fact learning, so whenever you would be in your school or in your college, you would like to become first, right? You would like to get 80%, you would like to score 90%, 95%. So that's what you can say, see, I was a great performer in this. Now if you are in any tournament, any game, competition, you would like to come first, you would like to score highest runs, you wanted to take highest wickets, you want to make highest goals. That's what performance. Now when you will be performing, then there are certain parameters based upon which it will be decided you comes first, second, third or last. Same whenever you will go to the company, here the competition never ends. Just like when you are working in school or college, when you are working as a student, you are giving exams and you are getting results. The tougher one is going to get the highest one. Same when you are working in an organization as an employee, again you will have a target. At the end of a year they'll check आपको क्या काम दिया था, आपने कितना काम खत्म किया. तो जैसे एग्जाम में क्वेश्चन आंसर होते हैं उसके बेस से पता चलता है आपको क्या सिखाया, आपने कितना सीखा. Similar to that, when you are in an organization, they'll check whatever was your target and how much you have accomplished. उसके बेस पे आपका आगे का फ्यूचर डिसाइड होगा. सो दैट्स कॉल्ड परफॉर्मेंस अप्रेजल. बहुत सारे नाम है इसके, परफॉर्मेंस इवैल्यूएशन, मेरिट रैंकिंग, merit evaluation, employee evaluation, different names, same meaning. Let's check some formal definitions given by our scholars. It's a formal system of review and evaluation of individual or team task. कितना काम किया अकेले ने सबने साथ में मिलके. फ्लिपो अंकल हमारे बोल रहे हैं it's a systematic, periodic and impartial rating. See, it has a system, it's a periodic and it is impartial of an employee's excellence in matters pertaining to his or her present job and potential for a better job. अभी जो काम कर रहा है और आगे क्या काम कर सकता है, दोनों के लिए चेक किया जाता है. That's performance appraisal. And performance appraisal means simply evaluating an employee's current or as well as past performance relative to his performance standards that has been given by Gary Daisler. Now, what are the objectives of performance appraisal? First, it helps to identify the gaps between actual performance and the expected performance. आप सोचते हो ना कि मैं तो इतना लिख के आया हूँ 80% आएंगे, रिजल्ट आया 65, 15 मार्क्स कहाँ कम हो गए. So same, company has given a task to complete 1 lakh target, employee has completed 80,000 target. So how this 20,000 gap happened and how we can solve them out. Appraisal will answer you this. Second, performance appraisal facilitate the process to identify employees who deserve promotion or transfer or sometimes termination. अब आप सोचेंगे सर टर्मिनेशन क्यों? तो आप देखिए बहुत अच्छा काम करने वाले को प्रमोशन देते हैं, तो बहुत बुरा काम करने वाले या काम ना करने वाले को कंपनी में रखने का क्या मीनिंग है ना? उनको दरवाजा दिखाना पड़ेगा, कामचोरों को दरवाजा दिखाना पड़ता है. सो दैट इज वेयर यू हैव टू टर्मिनेट पीपल. व्हाट्स द बेस? परफॉर्मेंस अप्रेजल. You want to promote someone, you want to transfer someone. What is the base? Performance appraisal. कोई क्वेश्चन मार्क नहीं कर सकता. Performance appraisal even helps you to determine compensation packages. अब सबसे बड़ी बात, again let me remind you third time, मैंने आपको बोला कि most important for employees. अब ये एक अकेला लौता फंक्शन है that employees are eagerly waiting. अप्रेजल कब होगा? मतलब once in a year or twice in a year it tends to happen with the companies, which means they will try to evaluate your entire year performance and based upon which your next year incentive, rewards or salary increase will be decided. तो क्या है, अगर किसी का 20,000 सैलरी था, आपने 25 किया, या 50,000 वाले का 55,000 किया, what is the base? The performance. And how you got to know? Via performance appraisal. So if bonus has been provided, incentives have been given or rewards are to be provided or not, help will be provided via performance appraisal. Through performance appraisal result, we can decide that. Performance appraisal helps in organization to improve effectiveness of employees. Why? Because you can get to know that what are your strength and weaknesses. कौन सी चीजों में आप बहुत बढ़िया हो, बहुत अच्छे से करते हो, और क्या चीजें हैं जो आप अच्छे से नहीं कर पाते हो, मतलब क्या चीजें आपको सीखने की, अच्छे से इंप्रूव करने की जरूरत है. That you can get to know. So performance appraisal is not only for the organization, it is for the employees, it is for the workers also. It is a kind of a function beneficial to both the sides. Now how we can use it? सबसे पहला, human resource planning. You can check what are the level of existing people. Accordingly, you can figure out whether we would like to bring new people or not. Once you have decided that few people will be promoted, few will get transfer and some people will go home permanently. So after that, you have to decide how many new recruitment would be required. Accordingly, you can channelize your recruitment and selection function. Next, performance appraisal also tells you that What are the parameters? Which are the areas where your employees are unable to perform? It's not about their willingness or it's about their ability. काम नहीं कर सकते तो आपको पता चलेगा which would be the areas where you should provide training to them, because once you make them more powerful by offering them good training, then they will able to perform. So you can solve them. The next would be compensation decision. As I told you, किसका सैलरी कितना बढ़ेगा, किसको कितना ज्यादा इंसेंटिव मिलेगा, किसको बोनस मिलेगा या नहीं मिलेगा, ये सारा परफॉर्मेंस अप्रेजल पे डिसाइड करता है, उसके ऊपर वो डिपेंड करेगा. Then what are the career planning and development? How people would be promoted from one job profile to another job profile, or whether transfer would happen or not, or what sort of training would be given to people so that they are going to perform. So that also will be decided by the help of performance appraisal. Grievances, like throughout a year, if people have made troubles for others or people have created certain issues which was problematic for others, accordingly justice would be delivered. Last but not the least, what was the overall feedback of people, how people are performing and what are the issues with them, so that you can get to know via performance appraisal. So as you can see, immense utility is there as far as performance appraisal is concerned. Now let's check upon what are the criteria to appraise the performance. First, individual traits like punctuality, sincerity, skill set. These are individual traits. Behavioral characteristics, the way you have performed, how you deal with others, how you react or respond. Then goal accomplishment. What was your target? How much you have achieved? How much percentage you couldn't? Scope for improvement. You couldn't perform the task. You couldn't complete the target. But by what extent? Up to 20%, 30%, 50%, or some help would be given to you. Whether any chance for your improvement or not. So that has been checked. And competencies. What are your existing competencies, your capabilities, your capacities, and how we can improve, how we can make positive node out of that. So this could be the criteria of performance appraisal. Now let's check how it has been happened. Process of performance appraisal. Step number 1, we have to set the goals. Benchmark जिसे बोलते हैं, लोगों को बताना पड़ेगा ना आपको क्या काम करना है. That's stage number 1. Stage number 2, you have to set the performance criteria. Like goal, why we would like to set goals, what would be the overall objective, and then we'll come up with the criteria that you have to complete within 6 months. You have to be on campus for these many days. You cannot utilize resources beyond this. You cannot take help of more than 2 other people. So these are the criteria, depends upon the job profile. Step number 3, actual evaluation. Then once the time completes, we will ask that employee to meet and will try to verify that whatever has been told before the starting of the year, now at the end of a year, how much has been accomplished. That's evaluation. Stage number 4, post-evaluation interview. We would like to check that what he or she has achieved and what are the reasons behind achievement or non-achievement, any particular feedback or point of view of that individual, wherein we can make the process more helpful for employees like him so that they can perform. So that's how the process will go from step 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now what are the methods to appraise the performance? There are various methods to appraise the performance. Let's check them one by one. Rating scales method. So there could be a rating scale, like scale could be poor, fairly good, good and excellent. Now here there are parameters called attendance, behavior issues, sincerity and dependability. So like rate will be there based upon the scales given, that how much would be the ratings from 1 to 5 or from poor to excellent. So whatever rating has been offered, accordingly it has been decided that individual has performed up to which level. So that is very common method, rating scale method. Another, the most easy one, ranking method. As you all aware, there are list of employees and different individuals would be appointed in order to just rank their work. You can bring supervisors in this role. You can ask external people to evaluate the performance. You can have people from HR department, and simply they have to rank different individuals based upon the performance of their work. So you have to rank जैसे जितना बढ़िया आया इसका मतलब है अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस किया, रैंक डाउन जा रहा है इसका मतलब है whatever work has been given to you, you couldn't deliver. Simplest method. Then paired comparison method. Now what happen, you will compare people with one another on certain parameter. Let's say here the parameter mentioned work quality. Now you are comparing 5 employees with all 5. Let's say A is comparing on quality work with B, C, D and E. So A is being compared to B, where performance of A was higher. A was comparing to C, the performance of C, A was higher to C, where in case of D and E, performance of D and E was better than A. Same goes with B, same goes with C, D, E. So that is something like on one particular parameter you can compare 2 employees or you can compare more than 2 employees, and you can check that for a given parameter which was the employee having highest performance as far as that parameter is concerned as compared to other employees. So you can compare in pair with respect to that particular parameter of performance. So you have to first decide various parameters and then you can compare people. I hope you guys are finding this interesting. Critical incident method. Now this is the method wherein incidents would be noted down, and based upon those incidents some decisions would be taken. So how this method works, there are some aims which would be established, then plans would be developed accordingly, and we try to collect information about critical incidents. Critical incidents are not the normal ones. You came, you worked and you leave. No, this is not a critical incident. But you came one day and you found that boiler was about to broke out. You ran to supply room, you brought some material, you try to control the boiler and somehow you manage from bursting it out. This is called critical incident. Critical incident could be positive or negative for the employee as well as for the organization, but that should be clearly recorded. Based upon that, at the end, all such incidents would be analyzed, and then they'll decide that yes, for any individual, whether the critical incident are on positive side or on negative side. So that's how for every individual, based upon the data which has been recorded and kept properly, one would be part of invigilator, or we can say the performance appraiser team are going to check, analyze, and then finally decide that how about their performance for a given specific period of time. That's called critical incident. Then checklist method. Now as you must aware, like whenever your parents are sending you that please go to mall and get this 10 items for me. So what we can do, simply we'll have those items list in mobile, and then accordingly as and when we got all those items, we keep on deleting or we keep on putting ki haan ho gaya ho gaya ho gaya. Same in organization, when you have that particular performance requirement, you will have a list of questions, and against that there would be either yes or no, or you can keep 1 or 0, 1 for yes, 0 for no. So you keep on having different statements, and then based upon those statements, responses would be provided. So that is what checklist method. For every individual there would be a checklist, and based upon his or her performance, person from HR department is going to fill that checklist by asking questions or by presenting questions before that person, in order to understand the language which that worker or employee actually able to understand. And plus, when you would like to ask about the same to his colleague or his supervisor, accordingly you can put up the questions before them, and you will get the idea about that particular statements or the data about individual's performance. So that is checklist method. Now confidential report, as you can say, nothing is there because it is confidential. Choke part. But confidential report or ACR, annual confidential report, it is one of the oldest method being used in government departments since independence. So it is very old, right? All other methods which we have discussed, wherein things could be easily discussed with one another, but here only in case of this, that is confidential method or confidential report, what happens? People could not disclose things, or people could not discuss even in public. Why? Because it considered to be a very confidential process. You have to maintain that confidentiality at any cost. You cannot share with your friend, you cannot share with your subordinate, you cannot share with your superior. आप किसी के साथ शेयर नहीं कर सकते जो चीजें हैं, तो you have to keep up to you and your departmental head, and files will be provided to HR department as well as departmental head. Very secretly they'll analyze, and then later on they'll declare the result. So that is again one method. If you Google out, then you can figure out some old forms of annual confidential report of various state governments or central government of our country, and you will get to know that how this report would be. So these were the different methods, like we have been done with checklist, rating scale, paired comparison, critical incident, and last but not the least, confidential report. Let me name couple of methods which are considered to be futuristic performance appraisal method. The trending one, which is right now very much trended in the market, 360-degree appraisal method, wherein people from each and every possible corner will try to be part of your performance appraisal process, 360-degree appraisal. Similarly, psychological assessment centers. So, psychological appraisal would be there and assessment center would be there, wherein you can utilize any of those modern methods in order to appraise the performance of individuals. Right. The next, what are the issues available in case of performance appraisal? Obviously, there would be different cases available. First, absence of objectivity. Now what happened? People, those who are doing this appraisal, after all, they are also human beings. Sometimes they lack objectivity. They'll go into subjective part, and that's why it happens that they couldn't make it objectively. So, like if they make that appraisal based upon subjectivity parameter, then there would be chances of very much problematic appraisal. So that could be one issue. Halo effect. Halo effect matlab first impression, last impression. The way you came in touch with someone for obviously his appraisal, but the way he or she has pretended himself or herself before you and the kind of impression which lasts in your mind, then that is considered to be halo effect, because now here you are not focusing upon his performance, you are focusing upon different aspect which actually he has or she has shown you. So that's called halo error. First time when it happens, and actually people tend to forget the original performance part and they try to focus upon something else. That's halo effect. Third, rating all as average. Now it happens, the appraiser has decided to provide same ratings to all. होता है ना किसी को, नहीं किसी को निराश नहीं करना है. If you have said out of 100, please provide your input. 50 बच्चे थे, सॉरी 50 एम्प्लॉइज थे, तो क्या कर दिया? 50 बच्चे मैं इसलिए बोला कि अगर आप हमारी क्लासरूम टीचिंग की बात करें कि एग्जामिनेशन में सप्लीमेंट्रीज चेक करनी है, तो 50 बच्चों का रिजल्ट है, तो 50 में से 40 लोगों के अगर ग्रेड है वो 50 to 60 के बीच में आ रहा है, सो दैट इज कंसिडर ऑल एवरेज. और सेम इन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, ऑल एम्प्लॉइज विल बी गेटिंग स्कोर बिटवीन 50 to 60. That's called average rating. Now leniency, like when you make it कि हाँ नहीं काम किया तो भी अच्छा रेटिंग दे दो, काम किया है तो बहुत अच्छा दे दो. बट काम किया है बहुत अच्छा दो, सही बात है, काम नहीं किया उसको भी अच्छा दे रहे हो, that is something wrong for an organization. You are not supposed to do that, but if you have done, that's wrong. Bias, when an employer get to know, or specifically that performance appraiser get to know that the person who is coming to evaluate his performance fresher है, ये तो मैं जो पढ़ा हूं वहां पे ही पढ़ के आया है, मैं जो डिपार्टमेंट से बिलोंग करता था वो डिपार्टमेंट में ही काम करता है, ऐसा कुछ पैरामीटर आपने ध्यान में रखा और आपने परफॉर्मेंस अप्रेजल किया, तो दैट इज कंसिडर्ड टू बी बायस. Now, evaluation of a predetermined time. Now, what happened? Like, whenever you are trying to evaluate things, in time you have to complete, and sometimes when the time has not been properly allocated, adjustment needs to be made. Employee resistance. You are keep on asking that what was the reason behind your ill performance, why you couldn't able to perform, but he is not ready to answer, respond ही नहीं कर रहा है, and you have said this training would be given, because if training would be provided your performance will increased, but आपका जो बंदा है, आप जिससे बोल रहे हो, आई डोंट वांट टू हैव एनी सॉर्ट ऑफ ट्रेनिंग, मुझे सब आता है, आई एम मास्टर, आई डोंट वांट एनी ट्रेनिंग. सो सच काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स कुड बी देयर. और इवन rarest of the rare, forget about training, but आप उसे ऐसा बोल रहे हो कि if this was happened to you, why you couldn't inform your supervisor on time, या आप काम नहीं कर पाए, तो please let us know what is the result, what are the reason for that. नहीं बता रहा है, शेयर ही नहीं कर रहा है कि भाई क्यों ऐसा हुआ, क्यों वो काम नहीं कर पा रहा है. he is not ready to provide you any sort of idea. So that is where employee resistance come into picture, because employees are not able to perform as well as they are not able to agreed upon the same sense. शेयर भी नहीं कर रहे आपको, अगर शेयर करेंगे तो you can tell them the ways how they can improve their performance. So these are the issues. It's a very small list. So many issues are there. Many times what happen, the individual working as an appraiser or evaluator has no idea about that particular job profile and still he is performing. तो क्या होगा, he couldn't perform, और उस केस में we cannot figure out that why he is unable to perform. So these many issues could be there in case of performance appraisal. Now how we can overcome? So first is we have to provide proper training to our evaluators so that they can observe employee behavior in accordance with proper manner. आपको क्या करना है, आप सबसे पहले ट्रेनर्स को ट्रेनिंग दो, इवैल्यूएटर्स को ट्रेनिंग प्रोवाइड करो कि हाउ दे हैव टू इवैल्यूएट. काफी बार इवैल्यूएटर्स को ही पता नहीं रहता कि हमें क्या और कैसे इवैल्यूएट करना है. Second, whole evaluation period should be covered and not just events which occur before the evaluation. आप समझिए, like someone is working for a year and monthly target are there, yearly target are there. Now, for out of 12 months, for let's say 8 months, he couldn't perform. He couldn't reach up to break even also. Now, from once the 9th month goes on, 10th, 11th and 12th, he has performed beyond expectations of others. He achieved. And what happened? He will be promoted if this mistake will happen, because for 7 months he couldn't perform. Now all of a sudden in the later part he started performing. So what happened if you consider those months where he could perform? Picture would be different. Purpose of evaluation and merits of each tool should be evaluated and studied. Now, whether you are focusing upon past rating skills like methods or future 360 appraisal like methods, now understand one thing, that every tool has its own positive impacts as well as negative impact. Every tool will not work for all different job profiles. So that's why you have to check that which particular tool would be mostly appropriate for that kind of level of jobs. Sample jobs should be given to the evaluator so that they are able to evaluate the performance. Now what happened? Evaluator should have an idea what actually this job is all about. पता तो रहना चाहिए उसे कि ये particular job profile में क्या चीजें की जाती है. So if you provide them actual knowledge, then only they would able to appraise the process well. अब पता ही नहीं है इवेल्युएटर को कि कैसे ये जॉब परफॉर्म होती है, तो आप समझिए किस तरीके से फिर वहां पे इवेल्युएशन का वैल्यू बढ़ जाता है ना. क्योंकि अगर उनको अच्छे से पता है और सही से काम हुआ है, जस्टिस वुड बी देयर. एल्स ट्रबलसम थिंग्स विल गेट स्टार्टेड, लाइक किसी एक का सैलरी बढ़ गया, किसी का सैलरी नहीं बढ़ा, किसी को प्रमोशन मिला, किसी दूसरे को प्रमोशन नहीं मिला. that might happen because of the errors committed by the appraisers. So dear students, in this performance appraisal or performance evaluation, what we have discussed is all about performance appraisal. As I told you, most important function of management, wherein we are trying to evaluate that at the end of 6 months or a year, how much an individual has performed against whatever level of task has been allotted to them. So what happened at the end of a year, people have performed and there would be evaluators. Now who could be the evaluator? Supervisor, external expert and immediate bosses could be part of evaluating team, wherein they try to focus upon not only existing stuff but future stuff also, कि भाई अभी इन्होंने ये कैसा काम किया है और आगे चल के वो कैसा बढ़िया काम कर सकते हैं. Now there are methods called past oriented methods versus future oriented methods. So checklist, ranking, rating, critical incident are past oriented methods, wherein we have future oriented method, which is 360-degree appraisal, psychological assessment and assessment centers. These are the methods will provide you that in future how capable this individual would be in order to perform. Now that evaluator would have some issues, like if they are not well aware with the training or they don't have much idea about different parameters. So what happens, if they fail to evaluate the performance of an individual properly, then there would be a sheer injustice to people like them. Because if evaluator does not have a proper idea about the job, plus how and what level of parameters should be followed while evaluating a job, then what happens, he is going to evaluate some better candidate by mistake as the problematic candidate, and hence he is not being promoted or transferred at a proper position. In the end, I would like to say performance appraisal is one of the most challenging function for HR department, because this is the department which is going to decide the fate of an individual for new term. Why? Because this is the department based upon that feedback provided by the evaluators, then promotion, transfer, or in worst case, separation or termination can be decided for an individual from that particular organization. Promotion, transfer, separation, सैलरी इंक्रीज, वेजेस बंद होना या वेजेस में बढ़ोतरी होना, these all parameters would be purely provided based upon evaluators feedback, and evaluators could be internal as well as externals. So if evaluator would be provided proper training, then such mistakes could be avoided, such as halo effect, wherein your first impression would become last impression. So dear students, in general sense, जो लोग घर में बात करते हैं या जो आपके फैमिली मेंबर सब काम करते होंगे, मार्च अप्रैल is the month in corporate generally to have performance appraisal. अप्रैल में रिजल्ट आ जाता है और इसके कारण ही पूरे दुनिया भर में हाईएस्ट नंबर ऑफ रेजिग्नेशंस अप्रैल मंथ में पड़ता है, क्योंकि जिन लोगों को लगता है कि उनका अप्रेजल ठीक नहीं हुआ है, they are not having a chance to get better salary or new advantages, so what they'll decide, let's check somewhere. तो दे विल चेक एंड दे विल कीप देयर रेजिग्नेशन लेटर रेडी कि अगर हमको जो मिलना चाहिए वो नहीं मिला तो हम दूसरी कंपनी में चले जाएंगे। तो एचआर के केस में ये सबसे हेक्टिक मंथ रहता है जहां पे लोग हमेशा भागने की फिराक में रहते हैं। इफ दे आर अनेबल टू गेट, देन दे विल बी motivated to switch over to some other location. So that's why performance appraisal is very much important, not only from organization perspective but from the individual perspective also. With this, we are concluding today's topic along with this session. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Have a great learning. Keep smiling, dear students.
स्वाध्यायः परमम्